is a Canadian, and I've asked her to participate in this video for a project called Definding Canada, where I plan to travel across Canada next year with a camper van, eliciting from Canadians what it means to them to be Canadian, what their identity is, how it relates to their geography, so that I can put it all in a book called Definding Canada. So I understand that you're a Canadian, but you were not born here. So maybe you could tell me a little bit about what it means to Izzie to be a Canadian.
Well, I was born in the UK, so I'm a UK citizen, and in 2007 I came over as a permanent resident and became a citizen in 2013.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Actually, December 23rd, 2013.
What a Christmas present.
Yeah, it really was. It's interesting because you asked me that before I went out with the dogs, and I was thinking about, what does it mean to me to be Canadian? And as an adopted Canadian, it's something I'm actually really proud of. For me, it's about lifestyle, it's about wellness, it's about the people that I meet, the city that I live in. And for me, it's about choice. It's about the choice of the life that I chose to make. I chose to leave the UK, and I chose to create a new life for myself here in Canada, and the opportunities that Canada allowed for me.
I won't ask why you left the UK, but what made you choose Canada? Of all the places in the world that you could choose, why Canada? What was it about Canada that appealed to you as an individual?
Well, in 2014, I strapped on a backpack and bought a one-way ticket around the world, and decided that I was going to find my place that I wanted to live. I went to a lot of places. I spent some time living in South Africa, I spent some time living in Australia, in New Zealand, in Southeast Asia, South America. My brother was here at the time in Vancouver, and I decided to come and visit him as one of my last stops on the way, and I never thought that I would settle in Canada. I remember when the plane landed in Vancouver, and the first place my brother brought me was down here to Spanish Banks. And I remember looking up at the mountains and thinking, this place is stunning. And then I couldn't imagine actually living anywhere else.
Okay.
It hit me and it connected with me. And the more I spent time getting to know the local area, Pacific Northwest specifically, I really connected on a very much of a sort of a spiritual level. It became my home, much more so than the UK could ever have been.
So you think that spirituality is a part of Canadian identity?
Well, I think so. There's an essence to the Pacific Northwest that resonates with certain people.
It has a reputation for a certain degree of elevated spirituality.
Yeah. For me personally, here in Vancouver and the Pacific Northwest, I would say probably up from Oregon up, there is something that just connects with who I am. It's a way of life, it's a way of being, it's a way people are being. A lot of people choose to live here. In Vancouver, there's not a lot of just Vancouverites, there's a lot of imports. And a lot of us have made the choice because of the way of life here.
Okay, it's a way of life, but what is your take then on Canadian identity, of the people themselves that you felt resonated with you, that you wanted to be a part of?
They're a very respectful nation, in my opinion. I find that Canadians are very warm, they're very welcoming, they're very generous, very open, very kind. There's a level of multiculturalness about everyone. I guess because Canada's so young compared to the UK.
Yeah, we are young.
Everyone comes from somewhere, or their family comes from somewhere. There was, in 2009, when the recession was really tough, I remember seeing an advert on the TV about helping out your neighbour. And, shop local, help out your neighbour, let's band together. Things are bad. And I talked to my mum, who was living in Europe at the time, and she was in Spain, so something was going really, really badly. And there was none of that. There was none of that camaraderie. There was none of that band together. And I find here there is. And I don't know whether it's because the recent history is still so close of...
Well, we're going to be 150 years old in 2017.
And the people that came over, 150 years ago had such a tough time and had to band together to survive. And that's so recent.
Yeah.
That's maybe 4 generations.
That's right.
And it's been passed down and it's still there.
Okay.
That's what I expect. And 2, I think that Canadians are struggling, or maybe struggling is the wrong word, but they want to know their identity. They want to know who they are and where they come from. Absolutely fantastic. And there's a lot of First Nation history that I don't know.
Yep.
But I think that there's a lot of that which can feed into who everybody is here. I think it's important to know who you are and where you come from. And I think it's important to connect with that. And I think it's important to pass it down.